Okay, welcome, good morning to the first live stream in English. I am Gopal and I would like to share some of my insights and my work with more people than only in Germany. And hence I started this live stream also in English. It is about trauma healing, about relationships, and also about meditation and spirituality. So if you want to ask questions, just write me an email and write in your email live stream or web stream that I see it's for the internet. And also please write if you want your name to be skipped or not. This is also important, otherwise I will read your mail with including your name. Of course, this is no replacement for any psychotherapy and also not for any medical treatment. It's just to give you an idea, a direction, and the real transformation only happens within a real relationship with a therapist. Maybe some words about myself, about my work. I was traumatized myself. I struggled about 30 years with standard psychotherapy, which didn't work at all. And also I searched in the spirituality for healing and relief, but also there I couldn't find it. So after many decades of suffering and searching, finally I found a very simple trauma therapist. And this woman was the first one in my life who understood the situation and who was able to help me. And within 1 year, about 1 year, my life was transformed. And after that, I did lots of training and started to work with people. And today I pass that on and work with groups and do retreats. Today I work without content. That means I'm not interested in the experiences someone had in his childhood. I work only in the presence, and also I work without any methods. So I don't use TRE anymore or any other trauma method. I just work in the direct contact, and I see that this is basically enough. So to summarize it, my work, I could say it's a mixture of the application of the polyvagal theory together with awareness in the current moment within the contact. So this is where the transformation happens. Okay, so let's go. There are some mails. Because in the future there may be many mails, and if you write a question so that you know when the question is answered, I always tell the beginning when the first mail arrived or reached me, the date, so that you can see in which time frame your mail is. So we start with the first mail, which reached me on December 17th, 2018. It's from Suzanne. How can I feel connected by saying I feel disconnected? This morning I dropped into the pattern of feeling disconnected from me, and I removed the name because I don't want to call the name here, because I expected him to save me while he was fallen silent. It didn't work to say I feel disconnected because the emotion of drowning fear of death was so strong. How can I stay conscious? By concentrating on the present moment. This idea didn't occur neither. The only thing which worked was to realize the sensation moving in my chest area very strongly. Thank you for taking time to listen. So, to feel connected is very easy. It is happening as soon as you communicate your state. So you say, I feel disconnected. You say that. So this is exactly what needs to be done. I feel disconnected. Exactly the state that is currently there. I feel connected. I feel disconnected. I feel dissociated. I feel as if I don't exist at all. I feel sad. I feel hungry. I feel anger. Whatever is there, you communicate it. And if nothing is there, you communicate this as well. I feel nothing, for example, like that. So this is correct. That's correct what you did. It's the way it works. But it's not enough, because you need someone who receives that on the other side. So you need someone who hears that, who wants to hear that, and who receives that. Otherwise, you are alone. Then there's no connection. And if someone falls silent, then there's no connection, because he refuses the contact. So you are alone. That's why it didn't work. And nobody will save you. You, because in the first place, you are not in danger. There's no need for anybody to save you, because you're not in danger anymore. You may be feeling like that, but this is another thing. So you need someone who is willing to communicate with you. That's the condition. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And maybe you should have continued to communicate. He's falling silent, and you just continue to communicate what this is doing with you. Maybe he is able to respond sooner or later. But if he doesn't respond, if he refuses the communication, the whole process doesn't work. Then you are really alone. Yeah. Then you write, how can I stay conscious? Consciousness is a side effect of a regulated autonomous nervous system. If your body feels safe, and it feels only safe if you're connected, then consciousness happens automatically. If the body feels insecure, then you always experience a lack of consciousness. So it's not about being conscious. This is something the spiritual teachers always tell: be conscious in the moment, and so on. It it's easier if we don't focus on consciousness, but instead of connection. Then we work according to the nervous system and not according to any spiritual concepts. Because the body is interested in connection and security, not in consciousness. The spiritual ego is interested in consciousness because he thinks that if I'm conscious, then something good happens. But the body needs only security, only that. And if there are states which are too strong, that the recommendation is to really use the body, do some physical exercise like running or doing a walk. Yeah, this is always helpful, especially if it is accompanied by fear or panic attacks. Don't freeze, don't stop with moving the body. Instead, really do something physical. Okay, so you need someone who is willing to do this work with you. And this means both sides are ready and willing to communicate every layer of the experiences, and then it starts. So it's not possible to do it alone. Next mail is from Frank. Dear Gopal, today I have a question about my daughter that no one has been able to answer yet. My daughter 11 had a so-called KISS syndrome, which means head joint induced symmetry disorder at birth. This is a malposition of the head joints, which in the case of our daughter caused the baby great pain for 3 months until manual correction by an orthopedist. During this time, she screamed very, very much, hardly slept, hardly drank, could not be bathed, and could not be calmed down by us. She was extremely unhappy and stressed at first. We could literally see that the bonding failed. Our daughter did not look at us directly for the first 8 months. She did not laugh and became stiff when held in her arms. We suspect that in her early days we could not give her what she desperately needed, taking away the pain, and sometimes body contact made the pain even worse. I mean, you can't take away physical pain from someone as long as you're not a great healer. I mean, it's not possible for normal people to do something like that. Additionally, she had to be operated 3 times in the first 5 years of life due to problems with her nasal system. Otherwise, she developed intellectually and physically very well. Today she attends a grammar school, but has severe social difficulties there and will therefore soon change schools. We also notice about her alternately aggressive sad. A very low stress threshold, quickly everything is too much for her. Suddenly she has outbursts and then scream loudly and try to provoke with her statements. Encapsulation or isolation, doesn't want to meet friends, lies in bed on weekends and has no motivation. At meetings with others, either overexcited or inferior. Everything the other wants, everything the other wants does, even if she doesn't enjoy it. I don't quite understand that. Fears of dogs, insects, party school, staying alone at home. Stress with loud noises. She can also laugh, but is mostly serious or sad. So far nobody could help her, neither osteopaths, behavioral therapists and others understand her. Did she develop a bonding or developmental trauma in her first 3 months due to the kiss and the bonding topic and thus explain her behavior and her emotional experience? What kind of therapy or therapist could help her? Can you say something about this? Many thanks. Okay. Yeah, this is let's say a typical case. So it's not a special case, although it may appear to you because nobody could really help so far, but it's just a typical case. And the symptoms and situations you describe are typical trauma symptoms. So it has all what you describe, all these apparently different symptoms have all one cause. So for example, the emotional level, the auditorial hypersensitivity, the stress level, the lack of social interest, and so on. This is all connected. This is all interconnected. It is all has all to do with this, with the root cause of it, and this is stress in the autonomous nervous system. So all these parts are affected. Especially the so-called SES, the social engagement system, is in a way offline because with this story, the body has lots of stress in the nervous system, and that means that the physical body still thinks that the surrounding is dangerous. And as long as the body does that, it will not activate the SES, and all higher functions will not be available for the person because it makes biologically no sense. In a life-death struggle, we don't need social interaction. So the brain areas who are necessary for that are not available. So this explains the whole stuff. So in the end, it's just stress in the nervous system, and this is a physical state. This is a physical problem. Yeah, and this is a developmental trauma. Yeah, we call it like that. Now, you say that nobody could help her. Um, all people who work on levels far away from the source cannot help. I don't say that this is wrong what they are doing, but it is not the layer on which the problem exists. Yeah, the problem is a life-death struggle of the physical body, and you cannot treat that by doing changes on the mental level. This is far away from the cause. It has nothing to do with that. So what I recommend is that you search a trauma therapist who does shock trauma work. For example, SE, somatic experiencing, is one possibility. Or TRE, tension and trauma releasing exercises, is another possibility. Or NARM, neuroaffective relational model. These are all methods who address the cause and don't operate on the periphery. Yeah. So, and what you can do is, if your daughter gets into extreme states, that you try to let's say, to provide a containment for that, to not judge her and so on, because this comes from deep layers of the nervous system. She has no control over that. This is impossible. So the more bonding she experiences, the more she's welcome with these states, the more security comes into the body, and the more the body can move from the activation to a release process. So from my point of view, this cannot be done alone. Yeah, you need a professional for that. And my point of view is that if you go with her to a trauma therapist, you will see changes very soon. So you just need to find the right person. And if you want to understand all that, I recommend to read the corresponding books. For example, the book from David Berceli about TRE, or the polyvagal theory from Stephen Porges, or the book from Lawrence Heller, Healing Developmental Trauma. Then you absolutely understand the whole package, the whole symptoms. And don't get lost in working on symptoms. It is not about the symptoms. This is something that I see all the time, that people work on the symptoms, also therapists. It is never about the symptoms. Symptoms are on far away from the cause. They are on the outside. So it's not about fixing their behavior. This is not the way. It's not about fixing her behavior. It is about helping her to release the immense stress in the nervous system, and then everything around that will be transformed as a side effect. Okay. A question from Timo. What is your take on Kundalini awakening? Is this energy that was dormant and then gets released comparable to energy bound by trauma? Thanks. First, I don't care about these things at all. I don't care about Kundalini. It's not in my focus. It's not that what we should think about from my point of view. I had a Kundalini awakening some years ago, so I believe that I know a little bit about it. And I think it is basically the same. It can be compared. So, where to start? The energy flows if the body is relaxed. It is not relaxed because it holds stress because of early trauma. So if we help the body to relax, the energy flows. You could say the prana flows. And that's why I see often people who never meditated and do TRE, they have spiritual experiences. They have a spiritual experience. For example, they say, wow, there's all light in the middle of trauma work. So that means if the nervous system is regulated, it has also a subtle spiritual, how to call that, component. And if the body relaxes deeper, then I believe the Kundalini will be awakened automatically. It's just a matter of how deep the body is in relaxation. And this way, it would be a natural way. Because if the physical body, the autonomous nervous system, is deeply relaxed, it means that all topics, all issues have been resolved. So the system is ready, and the system, so you can freely move in the world, you can integrate or experiencing anything, so there are no blockages anymore. And then the system is ready to have to live with much more energy, and then nothing goes wrong. If you force that, and I did that, I forced it with hatha yoga, with intense hatha yoga, then the Kundalini rushes into a system which is not ready for that. And this can be dangerous. And Kundalini awakening is not healing any trauma. It creates a chaos because it flows in a system which is where there is still chaos, where the channels are closed and blockages. It creates a disaster. So I would really stay away from that as soon as you have unresolved trauma in your system. Next question from Sebastian. Dear Gopal, you say that it is necessary to get in touch with one's aggression in order to come out of freeze or depression or whatever. You also say that this can happen very quickly, but I work on it for a long time now and it hardly changes. I have had many releases of anger and hatred in workshops, seminars, therapy, and also alone, and it always feels very fundamental for the moment, but on the long run it hardly seems to make a difference. And still there is fear of life and humans very much, and I still feel stuck somehow. The final solution is not a release process in the way you described it. The final solution is that you are able to live long, deep relationships. This is the way to live in long, deep relationships. So just to start with that, I read further. There's also the question in what way anger has to be addressed, if it is a default emotion and helplessness and fear are the more buried emotions as the trust survival style is conditioned to. Yeah, if the anger is the default emotion, then it has not to be addressed at all. Then it's not about anger. Then anger is your protection. It sounds a little bit like that. So maybe your system gets easy into the anger and uses that as a protection from deeper layers of fear, of helplessness, of sadness, of feeling small, of feeling the loser, being the loser. Yeah. So you can see that if this is a standard reaction to get aggressive and to create conflicts, then anger is not your way. Then it's about sadness, to access the sadness and your desires and wishes and longings. Some people fall as a default reaction into sadness and others into anger and hatred. And the work is different, of course, for both of them. What may be helpful is to read the Enneagram Type 8. This may be helpful for you to give you some orientation about that. It feels like I'm working 24/7 with emotions and sensations and also telling people about it. But still it's like I'm spinning in circles. I assume that there's still helplessness controlling me on a subconscious level. Yeah, exactly. You say it yourself. Yeah. I feel this prison I am locked in, and it has been there all my life. And it's so, I don't say the word tight, I can't do one step without chains. Don't even know what to ask now. Whatever the answer is, it will become my prison. Sorry for bothering. This sentence is really interesting. Whatever the answer is, it will become my prison. This is very interesting. Maybe the response in your childhood was always an order or advice. Maybe it had never addressed you. What if the answer is an open space? What if the answer is you are welcome? If I don't create distance to you, if I'm an open space and I say you are welcome, how can you make a prison out of it? So what you need is someone which allows you to to feel everything that is there, and you need a therapist which does not get into that trap of your story and of your default emotions. And what helps is always a relationship. You cannot do that alone. It is practically impossible. We need to heal within relationships. So the way you write and what you write, I see that this didn't happen so far. So you need someone who is accepting you the way you are without taking a position, without giving you advice, just being with you and your states. And with this interaction, you will break this defense mechanism. what you can do is to, instead of focus on the anger, focus on your wishes, desires, and longings in relation to others. So you meet people and you always ask yourself what you want, what you need from them. This maybe create a change. So, okay, there's another long question from Harald. Hello, Gopal. Before asking my question, I share as short as possible some important aspects around it so that my question becomes more transparent. I always loved to use the body as a vehicle. Playing, moving, sports, and later on singing and dancing were and are my ways to enjoy the soul's journey on earth. In 2000, I discovered that I was deeply traumatized. I started to walk at least 1 hour a day in nature to build and increase an inner container to allow emotions to melt and leave. After some years, it became easy for me to use singing, mantras or spiritual songs and dancing intuitively for trauma release processes. Firstly, this happened more or less spontaneously. Later, I discovered some tools that I could use to open and relax the body and the nervous system. My question is about how to evaluate and how to deal with my trauma release processes and the reactions from others in these groups. When singing, I would sit, the body would shake, tears would come, and I would be in a deep trance. Just focus internally, observing what's going on, surrendering to the energy like in TRE exercises, but without needing intense physical activations. When dancing, I would open my joints, come into flow, would perceive the dense state of the nervous system, would relax more and more, experience some breakdown or falling on the ground. The body would shake, tears would come, and so on. In both cases, I would be in no danger for myself or others. Typically, persons do react more or less in the same ways. First, physical touch. They may think I need support and would overstep my physical boundaries, which interrupts the release process. Second, they would talk with me, create discussions, and so on. Finally, coming to my questions. How do you evaluate my experiences? In short, I typically feel myself as a victim, but of course I'm not, as I created the situations myself. In a shamanic space with a tribe in nature, I would be free from trauma since a long time. I think as people in nature can be with such energetic processes, but in modern society I feel lost. Can I change something? Okay. I stopped this here. I've read the rest of the email already, so I I stop here. The first thing that I feel is that you are still alone. You, what you write, all that you write happens within yourself. There's no connection to others. I mean, you go dancing, you go into groups, but in the end, you're still alone. You're not yet connected. This is what I feel. And the normal society is not the place for trauma healing. You cannot expect that. You cannot expect that in a dance group you go into freeze states or trembling processes that the people treat you adequately. This is impossible. No, this will not happen. What you need is a setting which is meant for trauma healing. Why not go into a group? Why not meet people who work on trauma? I mean, this is possible. There are such groups available, and there it is welcome. And without that, it is not possible to heal that, because healing means that what you experience is today and comes from the childhood is being held by others today. So this connection is what heals us. And the surrounding you described is not able to do that. So you starting the release process, your inner work, but there's nothing that gives you enough security. So this whole setting doesn't work. Please don't do that in public areas. Look for a trauma therapist or a group and do it there. And it is not about doing it all alone. These processes in the body are just a part of the work, but in the end, we have to get in contact with others. This is what it's all about. So focus on getting in contact with people, not focus too much on your physical release processes. That's okay. It's good that you can access that. But the final solution is that you finally are able to meet other people. And it has nothing to do with culture. In a tribe, somewhere in the jungle, I don't know. I don't know if that would give you real security. You find these people here. It's not about going in another country. You have all that what you need where you live in your own culture. So far, there's an additional question from Sebastian. Shouldn't the helplessness and fear dissipate automatically if anger is integrated from a biological point of view? How does it come that helplessness needs to be looked at separately? How to develop true autonomy? Yeah, because if I mean if you are this type Enneagram 8 and if this is the case that anger is your default solution, then this is something that was possible in your childhood, so there's no need for fear. We have fear only, fear is only connected with emotions which were not allowed, which we had to suppress. So if you suppressed your helplessness and being small and so on, then of course this is connected with fear and you have to focus on that. So this is the challenge, to integrate that, to feel that. Yeah, and you say true autonomy. True autonomy happens if you are not forced to use the standard defense mechanism. So if someone triggers helplessness in you and it doesn't make anything with you. You can feel it. You can feel helpless. You can feel angry. If you can all feel that, then true autonomy happens. But as long as you have to suppress something, you are entangled, because then you always have to use your whole energy to escape from these feelings and have to be in power over others and so on. And then you are not free. There's no autonomy. The autonomy you're looking for is the autonomy from your own emotions. It has nothing to do with the people outside. And there's another mail from Annika. Thank you for your work. You said that the transformation and healing can only take place in contact with other human beings. I get that. However, merely the presence of another human being causes me feeling threatened so badly that I have to keep myself from fainting. I am listening to your live stream right now, and whenever you mention contact, it feels as though something inside me wants to run away and as though some cold liquid is released into my brain. Contact equals the worst poison for me. Do you have any suggestions from me? Many thanks, much appreciated. Yeah, I do have suggestions for that. This is the typical situation. Contact was the worst poison for you. That's why you're experiencing it like that today. It was like that in your surrounding, in your early childhood. It's not something, how to call that, than something imagined. It was the reality in your childhood, and it has, and thus has become the reality in your nervous system. So this is the first thing. What has to be done is to update that. Your physical body has connected contact and life danger. This happened in your childhood. Your body feels that contact to another human is a live threat. And that's what you experienced as a child. But today it's different. And what has to be done is to disconnect that. To disconnect that. And first, you perceive two aspects. You can start with that. If you come into contact with a person, there's the experience of fainting, of fear, of panic, of life danger. So this is a state of the physical body. And on the other side, you have the reality today. This means the person you meet, the surrounding, the sounds, what you see, the colors, the sounds, what the person is talking, the clothes, how he is behaving, and so on. So this is the situation today. And these both things have nothing to do with each other anymore. And the first step is to realize that your body gets crazy, but there's nothing corresponding on the outside anymore. Because if you look outside, there's nothing happening. There's just a person. Or you just hear the word contact. Yeah, and there's no life danger. So the physical reaction doesn't fit and doesn't match anything today. And this is something you have to focus on. There's the physical body reaction and there's the reality today. The reality is safe in most cases. If you meet a person on the street, there's no life danger. So this is the reality. It's safe today. And your body reaction does the opposite. It prepares you for a fight of life and death. And then if you have understood and are able to realize if you are in a really dangerous situation, or if the situation obviously is safe, then you can start shifting your attention from the body sensations from the body sensations more to the actual human that is in front of you. Because now you are completely overwhelmed by the physical reaction of your body. And this happens only because you are not in contact with the person you meet. And you are not in contact with the person because you're not looking outside. You are overwhelmed by your own states of the body. So if you first check, you have to first check if the situation is safe, then force yourself to focus on the person. You have to look at it again. And this looking at the person, if you really do that, allows you to get new imprints into your nervous system of safety. And if you do that continuously more and more, then your center moves from the body who gets crazy to living in a connection with others, which is safe today. And then the body slowly gets updated and realizes that it is not needed to activate itself in that way. I would recommend to do a trauma therapy. It is really hard to do that alone. It is better to do that in a relationship, because the therapist knows how to deal with the body reaction so that you can feel safe. Yeah, so it is much easier to do that with a trauma therapist. Okay, that's it for today. All mails have been answered, and I'm really happy that this is possible. And I hope that with the English language, I can reach more and more people. Yeah, then see you next time.